It's literally, it's literally Z. Peace, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Literally Z. I'm your host, Z, literally. And today I will be celebrating, as Jessie Woo says, this is Black Women's History Month, okay? And we're still in it. So before we finish out March, I have to do my due diligence to celebrate some of the most amazing Black women scholars who have made just a incredible mark on my life, not only as a scholar, but also as a person. They have poured into me personally, directly, in, short spurts, but also more large and grandiose ways, which I'll get into in this podcast episode as well. I have 10 women, so this is not an exhaustive list in any shape, form, or fashion. Even stopping at 10, I was like, ooh, but this person, ooh, but that person. But I was trying to keep it, a little brief, a little short, because it is a busy week for me. I'm getting ready for a few conferences, and so I have a whole lot of task lists just kind of brewing up in my agenda. But I still want to make sure I take the time to celebrate these Black women. So come along with me, learn a little bit about them. I'm gonna make sure and do my, best effort to not miss a beat and to include all the words in their beautifully crafted bios. So I will be reading the bios, but I'll also give you some insights about why I like them as a scholar, especially if I know them personally or have some other personal connection with them. So enjoy, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, so we're going to be starting with none other than Bell Hooks. Now, I'm pretty sure I mentioned her in another podcast because I must already have, because I really do love bell hooks down. And why do I love bell hooks? So I'm also going to be making sure to include pictures of them. So I'll put her on the side of me right there. But Hooks has this quote, and it goes a little something like this. She said, "I grew up in the hills of Kentucky, and I wanted these students to see you can be a cosmopolitan person of the world, but still be connected positively to your home roots." So again, she grew up in the hills of Kentucky, but she wanted these students to see that you can be a cosmopolitan woman or person of the world, but you can be a cosmopolitan woman, all right, but still be connected positively to your home roots. Bell Hooks was born in the racial apartheid of Hopkinsville, Kentucky in 1952, and she suffered an immature death in 2021. Still, in calling it a racial apartheid, Bell Hooks was drawn home to Kentucky in 2004, where she took on a faculty position at Berea College. This is after having faculty positions at Stanford, Yale, the City College of New York, as well as other national and international residencies. She came home to Berea College in Berea, Kentucky. Berea is a no tuition institution with a firm anti-racist history. And it also became the home of her Bell Hooks Institute in 2015. Later in 2018, the Carnegie Center inducted Hooks into the Kentucky Writers Hall of Fame. And I mentioned so much of her connection to Kentucky because that is my home state. So I emphasize that. And her hopes for students in Kentucky really mirror my hopes for Kentucky as well. So many Black Kentuckians that I know, but also, those who I just be seeing on the internet streets, long to leave and never look back. And while I wanted to experience life and study outside of the state for sure, I left as soon as undergrad hit. I still am slowly drawing back closer to home. Despite the truth in her description of Kentucky as a racial apartheid, Black folks have been instrumental in building that state, and our history is rich and ever growing. While the list of her scholarly contributions is mad long, so I can't even get into all of it, the piece that I highlighted here was Teaching to Transgress. We'll also be seeing a little bit about her piece, All About Love, because other folks have written a new book about it. So it'll come up like that book. If you're like, what about? I know it's going to come up, but I'm talking about one of my favorites right here. All right, is Teaching to Transgress. So that was Bell Hooks. Now we move to Dr. Bettina Love. And I, will include her picture as well, but this is special because I made this card and I had her sign a copy. So, yeah, I made this card. Thank you very much. And it has this quotation on the card, but I also read it for your hearing pleasure, which is that education can't save us. We have to save education. Right on, my sister. Thank you, Dr. Love. And in her own words, the aim of Dr. Love's scholarship is twofold. First, to advance how the field of education understands and critiques school reform and the systemic and structural racism of public education within the U.S. Oof. Two, to advocate for the abolitionist approaches that are just necessary to the field, but to, again, advocate for abolitionist approaches in the field of education that seek new possibilities for eliminating educational harm. I was first introduced to Dr. Love from her book, We Want to Do More Than Survive, which I'll also include here. And this was just such a good read. I read this in my senior year of college, and I got to go to her book talk with her niece. So I felt like that was a real nice introduction. You're going to remember me, you know what I'm saying? And then, in addition to catching up with her at multiple conferences where I got her to sign her card as well, which I did the card not as a fangirl moment. It was an activity, like an actual assignment for a course. Mine was the best. So said the professor and everybody else. Mine was the best. Thank you. Thank you. But because my card looked so good, well, also part of the assignment, we got extra credit for having the person we made the card of sign it. So again, it wasn't a fangirl moment. It was a task. All right. But aside from all of that, I also got to see her at one of her book tour stops for the book Punished for Dreaming. And it was great hearing from Dr. Love as always, but I also really enjoyed how she engaged the community in the conversation. And they got to bring some of their own local context to the topics from the book. So great, great, great. Also, she did another talk about the book that I got to hear. And it just, I'm happy that it was, sometimes people can do like stock talks. It was not a stock talk. I feel like I still learned more. I still gathered more hearing her talk about that same book a second time. So much appreciated. Great person. Again, every time I see her, it's very much so good vibes. Very encouraging person. Thank you, Dr. Love. Next up, we have Dr. Jessica Lee Stovall. And a beautiful person inside and out. Dr. Stovall is an assistant professor of African American Studies at the University of Wisconsin-Madison as of fall 2024. So, come on. She got finished with a PhD. Come on there. Her work in education draws on the discipline of Black studies to explore how Black teachers create fugitive spaces to navigate and combat anti-Blackness at their respective school sites. Fugitivity. So oftentimes when you hear the word fugitive, you might immediately think fugitive slave, like someone's running away from slavery. And that is true in a lot of history texts. They talk about fugitive slaves. But when we think about the context of fugitivity coming from Afro-pessimism, from folks like Gibbons, Ross, other folks like that. Oh my goodness, Ross is not included. It's just so many people. It's just so many people that I wanted to include. So definitely next time I do this, I gotta include Ross. Oh, Kiana Ross. Okay, yeah, but anyway, when they are talking about fugitive space and fugitivity, we are not running from, we are running toward. We're running toward the refuge of Black space, the refuge of home place, as Bell Hooks calls it, the refuge of what it means to communally gather with one another, the love we feel with each other. Fugitivity also relates to fictive kin. If I haven't talked about it yet, I will, because that's my basically my whole dissertation topic. But fugitivity is crucial to fictive kin, the ways that we have these aunties and uncles that are no kin to us, but are just like it. Bonds that are not formed of blood, but they thicker than that, as one would say. And so fugitive spaces are those. It's not running from, but running toward. We run toward fugitive space. We run toward the Black joy that's there, the comfort that's there, the safety that is there. Although no space is fully safe for Black folks because the whites are always watching and plotting. In general, we do run toward fugitive space. So love that in her work, her dissertation on Black teachers provides a blueprint for how teachers can create classrooms of liberated learning for their students. It was awarded the Critical Educators for Social Justice Dissertation Award at the 2024 American Educational Research Association's annual meeting. Snaps for that as well. I was initially introduced to Dr. Stovall's work from her article, We Just Do Us, How Black Teachers Co-Construct Black Teacher Fugitive Space in the Face of Anti-Blackness. This is one she wrote along with, I'm back, Misha Mosley. All right. This is a 2022 article. And in this piece, they found that the teachers created a fugitive space through their Black teacher partnerships that valued experiences and expressions of Blackness, play, and integrity of being. And so that just kind of really ties into what I was saying about Black joy in these fugitive spaces, the ways that we can really be ourselves, be authentically ourselves, and feel comfort and safety and community amongst each other. Another great piece by Dr. Stovall is Grant Us the Sun, What Black Teachers Need for Healing in Anti-Black Schools. And that's one that she wrote along with Tara Sullivan. And also, just as like a heads up, I don't know if you can tell from this picture because I feel like the picture I initially saw of her was really just a headshot. I did not know she was that tall. When I ran into her at a conference, I was like, Dr. Stuff. I was like, is that you? I know it ain't like. I really gotta look up. I said, oh my God, you are so tall, beautiful. Come on. But yeah, great vibes. She's also very encouraging when I was telling her about my work. Just snaps for Dr. Stovall. Next, we have Jaminque Adams. Okay, that's my girl. So she is a fellow Gates Millennium Scholar and a current doctoral candidate. Don't play with her at UGA. She is, this is in her own words, come on. She is a creative, interdisciplinary, qualitative researcher, teacher, educator, and community oriented healer, and is who integrates a deep examination of the relationship between care, work, labor, healing, and wellness for women. She deliberately situates Black women teachers at the heart of her analysis as a point of departure and arrival to a more critical understanding of the historical implications for contemporary manifestations of labor within a racial, capitalist, neoliberal context. Hit him with the words. She draws on a variety of perspectives from various disciplines and fields of study, including Black studies, Black educational history, teacher education, women, gender, and sexuality studies, and more to enhance students' learning. But even more importantly, she prioritizes the voices and knowledge of everyday, round the way Black women to articulate their lived experiences under captivity and their alternative modes of healing and wellness that refuse Eurocentric ways of being, knowing, doing, and seeing. And she doesn't stop there. The bio does not end there. Her work is deeply informed by her own experience as a former foster child raised in the city of Detroit and immensely cared for and guided by Black women educators. And honey, does she live up to every last word of that bio and then some? All right. I first saw Jaminque, I will introduce to her because we were at a roundtable together. So we were both presenting our work. She was reading these narratives from her school observations, and I truly felt transported. I was in the school with her. I was seeing it with her. I was feeling it with her. I was smelling it with her. I was literally in the space because her narratives were so rich, so dynamic, so just everything. It was everything. And then we came to find out that we actually have a scholar homie in common. Okay, shout out to him. So I got a little bit more into like reading her scholarship and getting to know her as a scholar. Beautiful work. You can check out some of hers. I have an article here. They're already punished enough. Fugitivity and abolitionist lessons from Black women alternative school teachers. And she's also featured in I Said It Was Gonna Come Up, the book All About Love from Bell Hooks. I Said It Was Gonna Come Up. All right. There's a new book, and it's called All About Black Girl Love and Education, Bell Hooks and Pedagogies of Love. And this is from Autumn A. Griffin and Dr. Yolanda Sealey-Ruiz. Now, I'm about to hit on Dr. Sealey-Ruiz in just a second, okay? But just staying with Jiminy like for one more second, please check out her work. She's a phenomenal person, phenomenal, doing phenomenal things. So just before I pause too much and move on to this book. Now, for Dr. Yolanda Sealey-Ruiz, I'm gonna start with her bio, like I did other people. I'm gonna start with her bio, and then I'm gonna get into my piece. Okay. All right. This is all caps. Educator, poet, activist, interrupter. And I didn't read it wrong. It does not say interpreter. It says interrupter. Come on. All right. She is a professor of English education at Teachers College, Columbia University. Okay. At TC, as they like to call it, they like to shorten it TC. Come on, Teachers College. Okay. At TC, she is the founder and faculty sponsor of the Racial Literacy Roundtable Series and the Racial Literacy Project. Dr. Sealey-Ruiz defines racial literacy in education as a practice and skill in which students probe the existence of racism and examine the effects of race and other social constructs and institutionalized systems which affect their lived experiences and representations in U.S. society. Furthermore, in her research with teachers and English education students, she found that moves toward deeper racial literacy development can be achieved through what she is currently theorizing as the archaeology of the self exploration, examination, and understanding of where issues of race and racism live within. Now, I attended one of her talks and I stayed back from said talk. And when I got to meet her face to face, on site from meeting me, I barely got my name out, and she just wanted to embrace me because she could sense the weight of my second year all over me. I talked a little bit about my first year and needing to transfer and things like that. And so we've discussed that a little bit in the introduction of the podcast. But the second year, my financial situation was better after the transfer for sure, for sure, for sure. I like the city better for sure, for sure, for sure. But I just felt like I wasn't getting as much out of my classes. It was like a trade off where I knew that the class, like the content, the instructors in the cohort that I had my first year, it was a bit more of an even exchange. And then coming into the second year, and also keep in mind, I'm being placed. I'm in my second year of the work, right? But I'm also being placed with people who are in their first year of the work. So this is no shade to them, but they literally have one less year than I do in a PhD program. So there's plenty of things they did not know, which is not their fault. So again, I'm not sticking blame, but I'm just saying because we were in different spaces and at different points in the journey, it was so often where I just feel like I'm giving, giving, giving. I'm teaching, not getting compensated for said teaching. I'm just doing all this giving and teaching. I'm not getting it back. And it just felt very extractive. And she gave me this unremarkably, like, just healing hug. I'm not a very big, touchy feely, affectionate person, but that hug just, it's one of those where you just like sink into it. And words can't fully describe it, but it was everything I needed in that moment. She gave me encouragement. She gave me some boundary advice, and it made my third year honestly very, very much so like a smoother journey. I would say I really appreciated that meeting, and yeah, like that's my personal connection to Dr. Sealey-Ruiz. I think that's all I can say on that without getting more emotional. It was just a very beautiful experience to meet her, and snaps for her and all her work. Please check her out. And again, it's the same. So the book that I already had featured. Also, again, she's a poet and she's an interrupter. All right. So there's a lot of other ways you can connect with her and her work. Next up, we have Amber Johnson, Amber Siobhan Johnson. Hold up, let me get it right. Let me get it fully correct. She is another author that is featured in All About Black Girl Love and Education. So I'm gonna put this up one more time again. But she is a Black woman scholar pursuing the mundane and everyday invitations for personal and collective liberation and living. As a former middle school educator and current PhD candidate, come on, she getting finished. She explores the multidimensionality of Black folks' lives and the ways they produce space and knowledge, crossing disciplinary boundaries to explore the interplay between history, Black geographies, Black feminisms, and education. Amber's work explores the intimacies of space, the speculative, and spirit as it concerns Black education generally and Black women specifically. Come on, somebody. As such, her aim is to produce work for Black folks who hold truths about their lives and their worlds in the bellies of their being, but whose souls forge for language in the dark places. I feel like I got to read that whole sentence again because it's warming me up inside, and I hope it warms you up inside. This way, you don't have to go back. If you want to go forward, you're a little bit of a hater, but I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna read that one more time. As such, her aim is to produce work for Black folks who hold truths about their lives and their worlds in the bellies of their being, but whose souls forge for the language in the dark places. So, wow. And I collected their bios without fully reading them before doing the podcast because I wanted to be able to give you all live reactions. Now for Bell Hooks, I kind of collected that bio myself. I've written some papers for classes on her, so that bio was more so my words putting onto her life. Like I know her life well enough that I could put my words to it. Dr. Bettina Love, again, I've also clearly done a class assignment for her. So those are kind of my words put onto her life and her work because I have a familiarity in that way. For these other scholars that I've done more recently in this podcast episode, I really copy pasted their bios verbatim. I did not put any of my own words in it. Again, I'm acknowledging these are their bios. You can find these words on the internet. Absolutely. Yes. And that's intentional. So just reading that back twice and in the dark places, that is really so much. And this is why I was going to get to it anyway. I don't want to interrupt her bio to say it, but I feel like I have to right now, just real quick. That's also why I really appreciate Amber, her presence, support, encouragement in my life as a scholar and a person, but also just her, again, her presence all on her own. Such an example and such a beautifully stated, I mean, it just breathtaking because that is what I feel that I want to do as a scholar as well. In my dissertation, I'm consistently and just persistently trying to emphasize that it is a collective and collaborative effort. I will use the pronoun we. I'm not going to use the pronoun I. I know it's my dissertation. I know I need it to finish my PhD. These are things I'm aware of, but it's not about me, and it's also not fully for me. I want it to be for and by the people that are the featured subjects of it, for lack of better terms. That's why I refer to them as partners in the work. I don't want to refer to them as participants, because oftentimes when you have participants and subjects, we're poking and prodding at y'all, we're pulling from you. And what do you get back? Like sometimes with these studies, I mean, you might get a nice little gift card. You might not get a nice little check. You know what I'm saying? Well, we can't really write y'all checks. We can give you gift cards when you do our research, okay? But I want you to get something back for your well-being, for your soul, for like just support networks. In my case, with fictive kinship, I'm looking at support networks. So I want to give to people in that way. I want my scholarship to be more than just a piece of writing that goes in these journals online that like 4% of the world reads, if we're looking at a large scale, because they're locked behind all of these paywalls where you have to be in a university, and if you're not in a university you have to pay an arm and a leg to get to the piece, or we're using language that is not, I barely understand it, and so anybody else is just trying to do a little pastime reading is not going to take the time to try to dissect what you're trying to say. Give it to them plain. I want it to really be touching lives and in lives and giving voice in that way that she just so eloquently described here. So I'm gonna get back to her bio, but that just really like, wow, Amber, oh my goodness. Currently, Amber is working on her dissertation, which explores intergenerational Black knowledge, reproduction, in parentheses, come on, reproduction, sorted by Gullah Geechee women in the South Carolina Lowcountry, in its interplay with the introduction of formalized education for formerly enslaved Black folks immediately following the Port Royal experiment during the Civil War. Also, as far as Amber's scholarship goes, her 2023 presentation, and it was called Toward Pedagogies of Feeling, Black Women Educators and Embodied Worlding. It was breathtaking. It was phenomenal, breathtaking. I loved every second of it. No, eat it up. Can't wait to write. Can't wait to read it in an article. It was amazing, phenomenal, beautifully done. And again, I've just thoroughly appreciated her support and encouragement over the past couple of years. So that's a bit about Amber. I got lost in Amber's bio. She took me on a whirlwind. Okay, this next one, Dr. Mariah Deans Harmon. So we have her picture, beautiful. Her locks go down to that. Come on. Her locks are so gorgeous. And yeah, so she is an assistant professor for the College of Education at Penn State University. She is in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction. She earned her doctorate at Vanderbilt University in the Department of Teaching and Learning at their Peabody College, and was awarded the National Academy of Education Spencer Foundation Dissertation Fellowship. That is a prestigious dissertation fellowship. That's numero uno. Let's clap it up for that one. In addition to that one, that's already prestigious, she got the Ford Foundation Dissertation Fellowship as well. Clap it up for that as well. And her dissertation, which I will feature here, This is her 2023 dissertation as well. Give it a little look see. I was very blessed and honored to be able to see her defend her dissertation, so thoroughly done. I mean, beautiful work, great knowledge and expertise about her subject. And again, just beautifully done. I love when the presentation, when the dissertation presentation, it feels like the person is in it. Like, be in it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be like just an outside third person, observer, be in the work. And so she was just so in the work. Her research examines how teacher education programs can better center the developmental needs of minoritized teachers. Specifically, she focuses on supporting Black women pre-service teachers as they prepare to enter their classrooms. In her research, she contends with two essential dilemmas for these Black women pre-service teachers, along with other minoritized teachers in U.S. schools. Number one, how do you become an agent of power in a system that has historically done harm to people like you? What? How do you become an agent of power in a system that has historically done harm to people like you? Woo, I could do a whole podcast on that question. And this is why I think I maybe talked a little bit about my teaching experience so far. If I haven't, I will. But sometimes we have minoritized teachers, so, Black, brown teachers who perpetuate violence against Black and brown students within the same structures of white supremacy culture that a white teacher would. And that kind of goes into that historical harm. It was done to you. It's the norm. Like, they just need to take their hoodie off because they need to take their hoodie off. They need to pull up their pants because they need to pull up their pants. That them shorts are too short because the shorts are too short. They can't be loud like that. They need to be quiet in the hallway. They need to walk in a straight line because I was told to walk in a straight line. They need to, like, just certain things about the way we structure schools. Then I know people be like, well, kids need structure. They do. Kids need schedules. They do. Absolutely. They need structure and they need schedules. But they don't need to be in a carceral state. The school don't have to be a prison. It don't have to be. But oftentimes we do mimic prison. And so I don't know how much I can get into it because my comprehensive exam, which allowed me to finish my coursework, yeah, I'm done with coursework. I wrote a paper comparing the education system schools to the carceral system, incarceration prisons, and showed how the days are modeled in similar ways, like schedules are modeled even in similar ways, disciplinary actions are modeled in similar ways. They mirror each other. So I don't know if I can. I have to talk about talk to the universe about how I could pull that up out of there because I didn't reveal the question, but I'm saying what I did. What I did was compare those two things together. It's what I did. And hopefully I can bring that information to y'all as well. But that question is such a powerful question. She also asked, how do you become a disruptor in a system that has benefited you? And that's the other edge of the that's the other side of the coin. That's the other edge of the sword, because if you are someone, especially high achieving Black folks who benefit, like you learn the game of the system and you benefited from the game of the system, so you're then, of course, trying to teach people the skills and the tools that you had to game the system. You want them to have those same skills, but you must disrupt the system. The system is the problem. You weren't the problem. You didn't have to take on all this extra burden to fit into that system. That system was never built for you. Actually, was built against us. Woo! That was a word in that question. Come on, bios. These bios are killing it. Oh, the bios are killing. Okay. Her work expands current scholarship, outlining Black women pre-service teachers' vast experiential knowledge by focusing on developing such knowledge into pedagogical competence. She uses social design methodologies to create teacher education counter spaces for minoritized teachers, as well, or as they explore different aspects of becoming critically conscious educators, reflecting on their personal histories and hopes for their future classrooms. Now that's the bioofficial stuff. Now I must also dote on Dr. Harmon. I met Dr. Harmon when I was in before my first year. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna get emotional. Oh my goodness. I met her when I was still like looking and applying for schools. Wow. I need a moment. Hold on. Deep breath in and out. I Obviously I know when I met her, right? But I didn't know, if that makes sense at the same time. I knew, but I didn't know. I know I met her before I started my PhD journey, but it's just hitting now saying it out loud. Yeah, it's just hitting now saying it out loud. So I met Dr. Harmon when I was still kind of, I would say I was still shopping around a little bit, and I wanted to get, the perspective of a Black woman in a program, obviously, because why would you not want to get a Black woman's perspective as a Black woman entering those spaces? So you want to know how they're experiencing it so I can better gauge how I'm going to experience it. And from meeting her then starting my program, every step of the way, she's just been and I know I've said for everybody, it's so supportive, so encouraging, but it's true. Like, Black women loving on Black women is one of the most beautiful things in the world. It's nothing better. Black women loving on other Black women, the way that we can love on each other, the way that we can come together, heal each other, feel joy together, comfort, safety, love. Again, all about love. Come on, that book. Like, it just it's such a beautiful thing. And so yeah, um, I'm just thinking about sometimes where being being with Mariah, doing things with her, chatting with her, catching up with her, seeing her, having a hug from her, different things like that, just really picked me up. Yeah, without getting like into too many personal details and starting myself to crying, I think I'm gonna have to leave it there. But Mariah, I have so much love and appreciation for you as a person, first and foremost, and also as a scholar as well. So just thank you for that bio. Thank you for being you. Thank you for loving on me and seeing me, and just thank you. Thank you. Okay. Woo, all right. We have another Amber, Dr. Amber Neal-Stanley, and she is an assistant professor of curriculum studies in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction at Purdue University. Her research agenda converges at the intersection of Black education studies, critical qualitative inquiry, and faith as a vehicle for educational transformation. Her research, teaching, and service are informed by her lived experience as a Detroit public school student, as well as professional experiences as a social worker and public elementary school teacher. Dr. Neal-Stanley is committed to preparing diverse students to address structural inequity, parentheses again, remember Black radical traditions, and employ humanizing pedagogical and research approaches. An award-winning educator and scholar, Dr. Neal-Stanley was awarded the 2023-2024 Purdue University College of Education Outstanding Faculty Teaching Award. She was also selected as a 2024-2025 Research Fellow through the Crossroads Project at the Center for Culture, Society, and Religion at Princeton University. Okay. I was introduced to Dr. Neal-Stanley through her work on Hush Harbors, and I reached out to her because of that work. I thought it connected well to my dissertation, and these are spaces of, again, refuge and fugitivity for Black women teachers. And I just had a whole spiel right about Black women loving on Black women. So that's, to boil it down to a very small nutshell, that is what we see in Hush Harbors. And these are also fugitive spaces in the sense that they are hidden away. And that's how we protect ourselves, honestly, when we're in these spaces of Black joy, is to hide them away from the otherwise harmful white gaze. Okay. Now, I reached out to her because of that, and she was so immediately supportive. Like, when I say I had given her a little 1-2 spiel, I think in message form, and she gave me her number. Off top, I'm like, oh, okay, okay, thank you. And so we get on the phone. I'm literally in the gym. I remember this moment very vividly. I'm in the gym. She either texts me she's available or something, to where I'm like, oh, I gotta go take this. Like, I'm in the gym. Gym can wait. I take the call, and just so warm. And honestly, I literally told her this. I said, when I read your work, I could hear and feel your voice. And that's exactly the type of scholar I want to be. That's exactly the type of writing I want to do. And I just had to connect with you. Like, I heard your voice. I heard and felt your voice in your work. I got to connect with you. And she was just as warm and caring in her true voice on the phone as she seemed from her writing. So just, again, beautiful person, great scholar. This is a picture of a piece here. This is the Hush Harbor piece that I was talking about. But yeah, that's Dr. Neal-Stanley. Snaps for her. Thank you. All right, next we have Dr. Lynette Mawhinney. She is an accomplished educator and professor of urban education at Rutgers University, Newark. In addition to her extensive teaching experience and accolades, such as a Fulbright Core Scholar Award, not throw it in there, as a Fulbright, come on, Fulbright Core Scholar Award, and an American Educational Research Association's Division K Award. And Division K is for teaching as well. So the whole conference is teaching, but Division K, don't give me the line. I think it's maybe teacher education. I think it's teacher education. Don't give me the line though, but I think it's teacher education. Okay. She is also a prolific author. Dr. Mawhinney's scholarship or scholarly research focuses on recruiting and retaining teachers of color, diversity, equity, and inclusion in K through 12 urban schools. Love to still hear that on a bio. Love to still see it on a website, honestly. Love to still see it on a website. Jesus. Love to still see it on the website. She also is an award-winning children's book author and contributes to diversifying curriculum. So my initial excitement about Dr. Mawhinney absolutely came from the children's book. Absolutely. As I was looking through for the American Educational Research Association, their annual conference, I try to go through and see, who's presenting on what, who's doing what, with who, about what, about whom, like I try to go through there and see. And when I started looking through people's bios and I pulled up her website, it was these insert children's books, pictures, and they will be inserted. I said, she's doing a little bit of what I want to be doing. Yo, we on the same page. We locked in now. So when I saw those children's, I was like, oh yeah, because I recently wrote a short story for kids. I haven't published it anywhere, so don't be looking for it because it don't exist. But I recently wrote one, and so I was just like, yeah, like I want to be doing more of this. Like I can picture the illustrations in my head. I want to have time for that. Clearly, I'm making time to do this podcast. So I'm making time to do a whole lot of random other stuff, but yes, I love that aspect. And then I also really connected with her piece on other mothering. And the last scholar I'm going to highlight in this episode, again, I could go on and on about Black women scholars. I try to keep it as brief as possible, although several of y'all got me choked up, and I really was trying to keep it under the hour. We gonna be pushing. We're gonna be pushing the hour because y'all got me choked up like y'all did. But that's okay because I have much love and adoration for y'all. But anyway, I loved her piece on other mothering, and the last scholar has some similar sentiments about this as well, and I'll get into that a bit when I highlight them. But it's often so praised in the literature for what it gives to Black students, and I will never diminish that. Absolutely not. But we very rarely discuss the toll that this emotional labor and care can take on the other mother herself. You easily get so wrapped up in caring for your students that your own well-being and health just slips through the cracks. And when we're already experiencing, especially the convergence of these gendered racial stereotypes and biases and discrimination that again are recorded on record from studies. I believe this one study that I'd be citing, it's from Fanny and why is it so hard for me to find? Oh, here we go. Ugh. Paywall, 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 paywall. Oh my goodness. Can I look up scholarship, please? This is what we talking about. This is what we talking about. This is the problem. This is the problem with y'all now. This is the problem. Why am I getting stuck behind paywalls? It is, okay, it's Fanny and Harnett. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to confirm, but from the thank you. No paywall, thank you. Everybody else got a paywall. Oh my goodness. Damn. Thank you. Fanny and Harnett, thank you. And they are at, one of them is at Harvard, the other one's at Emory. Thank you, exactly. And the article, racism produces subtle brain changes to your brain that lead to increased disease. It says risk, but disease. Okay? Disease. Because your brain, it be running this train, yes? Racism produces subtle changes to your brain. So when I said at the very top that Bell Hooks suffered an immature death, and other great Black scholars, activists, and different folks who were not taken from us by pew pews, okay, oftentimes still suffered immature deaths because of racism. The weathering of racism, the emotional labor of it, the physical toll of it, again, the actual brain changes of it. Like, and I'm sorry to pause on this, but I did have to pause on this very, very briefly. Cannot be ignored. But anyway, coming back to other mothering, we took a whole train left. Coming back to other mothering, again, kids are not obviously necessarily meaning to give you the effects of racism. Absolutely not. But when you take on that maternal role as an other mother, you care for the students and their families, in my case, very deeply. They need something, I'm gonna try to be there for them. They call me, spend the night, I'm gonna answer that parent before I answer that principal. Okay? Like, I'm gonna answer that parent before I answer that principal. Something's wrong over here. And so just the labor and the care that we provide as other mothers to students. And she was speaking at the university level, but I mean, again, this also goes for folks who are at the K through 12 level as well. You must be careful. You must be careful. Still give the care, still give the love. Absolutely, those kids deserve it. Black students, Black people in general deserve love. But you also have to make sure you're caring and loving on yourself. And sometimes it's easy to just put everybody else above yourself, and you stick yourself on the back burner. Can't do that. Bring yourself off that back burner. Come on to the front burner. Come on to the front. 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 Okay. Last but not least, I know if you know me personally, you might be like, dang, you didn't include Dr. McGee. Of course I included Dr. McGee. She's the last one on here. Of course I did. Of course I did. I had to end with it because in case I get extra emotional, then we just gonna end the podcast. So I'll just be done. Okay, so I'm gonna first read her bio, and I am reading because I have to. I'm gonna try to stay on cue, but this is Dr. McGee. I, I'm gonna try to make it through this. I really am gonna try to make it through this one. Okay. So Dr. Ebony McGee is a professor of innovation and inclusion in the STEM ecosystem at Johns Hopkins University School of Education and its Department of Mental Health as well. So that is the Bloomberg School of Public Health. McGee is an electrical engineer by training and a 13-time National Science Foundation Investigator Awardee. She is the leading expert on both race and structural racism within the traditional STEM ecosystem and the resistance to this paradigm. Her research includes the experiences and mental physical health consequences of STEM education and occupations for Black and other minoritized students and professionals. She also investigates the limits of resiliency, wellness, and job embeddedness in the STEM ecosystem. A quick note here, if you are in Dr. McGee's presence, resilience, we only should have the resilience of a rich white man, a trust fund baby white man, and all the millions of chances that they get and all the bountiful resources and supports they have. That is the amount of real resiliency that we should have as individuals. That's the limit of our individual resiliency, is what they got to do, how they pull themselves up. In quotation marks for those who just listen to audio, I'm not being serious, as they pull themselves up supposedly by the bootstraps. Okay. Instead, we have to have this collective resiliency together, coming together. And at that point, typically we just call that resistance. So typically when she's writing about resiliency in quotation marks, especially grit, big no word, grit is used to put the pressure back onto students, especially Black students. Oh, you're not gritty enough. Get gritty. Grit. No, change the system. We're not the problem. We're not the problem. Y'all keep trying to make us be the problem. Okay. And I want to say I've already mentioned Dr. McGee's work with imposterism as well. We're not the problem. We're not the imposters either. Okay? That's racism camouflaged as imposterism. What these universities do, all right, is it, oh, you're experiencing imposter syndrome. Here, go to this session, join this group. Here, get with this therapist, and we'll help you with that. Help you with that. Point finger at you. You're the problem. When in fact, in reality, if these systems were to change, if these structures were to be interrogated, if these professors were to be interrogated, if these colleagues and peers and classmates were to be interrogated, there would be no reason for me to feel like an imposter, because baby, y'all the imposters. We're typically overqualified, overeducated to be in a whole lot of these spaces. We not the problem. Y'all the problem. And y'all feeling insufficient and feeling mediocre for lack of better terms, is why you then push that back onto us, like we the problem. We not the problem. So that was a quick segue on the resiliency piece. But yeah, yes, absolutely. So she founded the Racial Revolutionary and Inclusive Guidance for Health Throughout STEM, Our Rights research team, and co-founded the Explorations in Diversifying Engineering Faculty Initiative, or EDIFY, as well as the Institute in Critical, Quantitative, and Mixed Methodologies Training, or ICQCM, which is a program for underrepresented scholars at the doctoral level, as well as faculty, like folks that are on out of the PhD programs and things, with support from the National Science Foundation, the Spencer Foundation, and the WT Grant Foundation. A key concept in McGee's work, Dr. McGee, a key concept in Dr. McGee's work is equity ethics. In articles in the journals of higher education, engineering education, American Journal of Education, Teacher College Record, etc., she has demonstrated that racially minoritized people in STEM gravitate toward empathetic social causes and racial justice efforts within and beyond their STEM pursuits. Their racial and ethnic marginalization and the way they themselves have suffered translates into concerns, efforts, and actions toward ending local and global disparities. So that's a little bit about her work on that tip. And now we're going to get a little bit into the personal. So, and also this is a book by Dr. McGee. So this is Black, Brown, and Bruce. Purchase it today. But Dr. McGee, is this one going to be kind of like Mariah's, where I can go on, and I don't want to go on, and I also don't want to cry on here this early. It's just episode 4. Doing our breathing exercises. Okay. Dr. McGee, I first met her in an intro class, and I just felt seen. I felt seen. And initially when she saw me, I feel like I was doing pretty good and vibes were good. I feel like we connected a lot. We have kind of similar straightforwardness, if you will, bluntness, if you will, similar ideas and thoughts on schooling, education, on racism, and different stuff like that. So we just connected in a lot of ways. Coming into the second class I took with Dr. McGee, that's when there was a shift. I myself was very depressed. I know my friends and folks that I talked to on a regular basis knew I was depressed. They knew I was going through it, and I was just constantly complaining to them. But people that were on the local level really did not know. I didn't tell anybody at the local level. So it wasn't like they knew and they were ignoring me. I did not tell them, and I was doing my best to cover it up, honestly. If I'm being plain, I was trying to cover it up. But she saw right all up and through that I was not fooling her at all. She peeped the change. She contacted me, gave me her phone number to have a conversation. We connected, we talked, and I want to say I cried on that call. So I'm trying not to cry here, but I want to say I cried on that call just because I got very emotional. In that, this that was my dream school, my dream program, a dream place to be. And I'm such a planner. I hate change, and that's something I've worked on in therapy. I hate change. I don't do well with change. It makes me very anxious. And so I had planned it out. I applied to one school. I got into this one school, and shit is not turned out how I thought it was going to be. I'm not happy. I don't really want to be here. And I just was able to be very blunt, honest with her. She was very warm and caring and understanding, and wasn't trying to, as so many people do, push the blame onto me, like, well, are you doing this? Are you doing that? She was just hearing me and accepting what I was saying and what I was feeling in that moment. I really appreciated that. And then from there, continued to pour into me. So we were at a major conference. And at that point, she's then leaving the school that we were at together and is heading elsewhere. And literally pulled me under her wing. I have worked with her ever since, and it has just been one of the best decisions I could have made, honestly. The opportunities I've had, the growth I've had as a researcher, understanding methods, understanding analysis and different aspects of the work in that way, understanding teaching, being able to co-teach a course and help to design it, actually co-design this course as well, and be a very active participant active partner, come on, use my own words, active partner, which actually, my God, this list did not include Dr. Tolliver. Ooh, I'm missing Ross and Tolliver. It's just so many people that wanted to be in this list. And as I'm like, because Tolliver research partners from Darkened Story Work. Oh my goodness. Like, we're gonna have to do part two. We're gonna have to do more of these. It's just so many women to celebrate. It's so many. It's so many, so many, so many. And again, I stuck it to 10, and I probably could have gone to 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I could have kept going. So, oh my goodness. But yeah, let me get back on task. An active partner in that work to design the course, in decisions that we're making for the course, the articles we're reading, the way we're doing the lessons, activities for the course, just grading, just being such an active partner in that at this level with teaching graduate students, doctoral level as well as masters, invaluable. Again, just opportunities, the things that she sees as possibilities for me that I did not see for myself, things she's pushed me to do that I would not have done on my own. Just so grateful. And also the ways that she's constantly advocated for me as a person as well, not just a scholar, not just as a researcher, but as a person, checking in on me as a person. Am I okay? Is anything, going XYZ wrong with me, or with, like, just the way she approaches her relationship with me in such a holistic way is just, words can express my gratitude. I'm so grateful and appreciative and feel warm and fuzzy about the whole just, I'm really trying not to get emotional, but yes, I have such a immense appreciation and gratitude for Dr. McGee, as well as all the women that I've listed in this episode today. They've all poured into me in different ways and have brought me to this point. I wouldn't be sitting here as a woman I am today without their influence in some shape, form, or fashion. And I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful. Love a Black woman from infinity to infinity. See y'all next time.